have this audience on YouTube that I built over several years that were hungry for content, really enjoyed watching my videos, and I was feeling tired showing up in that space, not super excited about what I was creating there. Meanwhile, being so fully invested and excited and wanting to bring Hey Lady into the world and to help it be successful.
We are on fire. Like, we're doing webinars and bringing in like 50 grand. The cost of acquisition, what we actually pay to acquire a customer, is somewhere around 1/10 to 1/12.
Another aspect of what we're doing that's quite different to most course creators out there, it's probably that we are focused on community as our product.
Emma's ads just outperform the other ones, hands down, every time. At least 8 or 9 to 1. We'll convert anywhere up to 60% of people who sign up for a free trial after 7 days. On the inside of that community, there's all these people showering each other with love and traveling across the world and buying airplane tickets to visit each other, and all this amazing connection.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Selling Online Courses. We are here to share winning strategies and secret hacks from top performers in the online course industry. My name is John Ainsworth and today's guests are Emma Jacoby and Shah Turner. Emma and Shah are co-founders of Hey Lady. This is a student-led, coach-supported social learning community designed to empower women to learn English through conversations, peer connection, and real-world practice. It's a custom-built software platform designed to support that with like interaction, collaboration, contribution. And we're going to talk through why Emma and Shah think that growing the community is so important and how their approach that they've got now is different to the regular course approach that we're normally talking about on this podcast. And why Emma had walked away from the 6 million sub YouTube channel to focus on Hey Lady. So let's get into today's episode. Emma and Shah, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. It's super exciting to be here.
Absolutely.
Talk me through this. Like, how does Hey Lady work? What is it? What's kind of different about it to what anybody else is doing?
Well, one of the main differences, I think, from what everyone else is doing is we're actually building the platform ourselves. It's a custom-built software platform. That makes it a very expensive endeavor, but it gives us a lot of freedom and flexibility to create features or to extract metrics and information about customer or member engagement, participation, things like that. Super exciting to be able to really dive deep into what our members are doing and be able to reflect back their success and their progress to them. I think another aspect of what we're doing that's quite different to most course creators out there, it's probably that we are focused on community as our product, not necessarily as content and as a product, but in fact the community experience, the shared connections, the collaboration, the peer-to-peer support is a big part of the customer experience inside Hey Lady. I don't know if you'd add anything to that, Shah.
No, exactly. I think everything you said is about where it is. I think probably one of the things that we noticed and why we're doing what we're doing is it's interesting to see how few people actually complete courses, how much of it they actually get through. And what we found through community and also through our own platform and having that insight is you can really see and follow along where people are falling off, losing interest, and you can nudge them at the right point to come back in ways that are actually meaningful. For example, compared to like an automated email sequence, you can really trigger messages, notifications, or other things, based on what someone actually did, so that when they see that, they're like, oh, that's cool. Well, I am actually going to take the next step because that's what makes sense for me. It's been, really interesting stuff.
So how does it work? You mentioned the community side of things, but like, what's the product with Hey Lady? Is like you'd mentioned. I was watching like your trailer video on the homepage, and it was saying how expensive it is to have like a tutor, but that what the focus of it is around conversation. So is it about conversations between the members? Is that how that works?
Yeah. So our whole product and our community is it's student-led or member-led and coach-supported. So our English coaches inside the community, certainly we have, just like lots of course creators, we have recorded videos and we have PDFs and exercises and things like that. But the core value in Hey Lady is the experience of not just acquiring the information through video content or through worksheets, but actually showing up to put it to practice, into use. And so our coach role in that space is to create opportunities for our members to actually put what they're learning into practice, to have the space to come and interact with our coaches about the lesson content. So there's sort of learning opportunities, skills workshops that they run, and guided conversations that our coaches run. But what makes Hey Lady quite unique, I think, is that our whole platform is built around allowing our members to connect. So in fact, there are some members in our community who their main motivation is not necessarily to learn and study English. It's about having people to practice with, being able to meet people, talk about different topics in different contexts. And so within the platform, there's a whole range of ways that our members can interact with each other that doesn't actually require a teacher or a coach being there to lead and to create that opportunity for them. So you'll have, in our community, we have about 20% of our members who are actually contributors to the platform in terms of events, being conversations or study groups or reading clubs or things that they are hosting for themselves and for their friends or the other women in the community. And what makes that really, really powerful is that at that moment where they kind of take ownership of what they want to be doing in the language that they're learning, they unlock this ability to create and the ability to also recognize themselves as taking ownership over this language that they've been learning and doing what they want with it, as opposed to being directed by or kind of led in lots of different ways by a coach or by a tutor or by someone that they're watching, through a course, for example.
Got it. Okay. And what's you got the YouTube channel English, right? So what's the connection with that? I saw you haven't posted videos on there in quite a long time. Did you completely stop that when you started work on Hey Lady?
It wasn't quite as simple a transition as that.
Okay.
For a couple of years, as we were sort of just getting started with Hey Lady and, ideating, thinking about this idea, testing, you mentioned, I can't remember if it was on air or before we actually hit record, but you mentioned, creating community by WordPress plugins and things like that. That's where we started with Hey Lady, and then sort of progressed through to third-party platforms. We used Mighty Networks at first, and then got to the point where we were ready to build our own and sort of fully commit to what we were trying to create in the world. And it was probably about maybe 2 years into building out our platform that my workload was just out of control. It was effectively like trying to lead and manage and create content for 2 separate businesses. And, there was a point where I was really struggling with how do I kind of make this choice. And the easiest way for me to describe it is, I had this, and in fact, I'm not going to use had, I have this audience on YouTube that I'd built over several years that, were hungry for content, really enjoyed watching my videos. And I was sort of feeling tired showing up in that space. Not super excited about how I was showing up, what I was creating there. Meanwhile, being so fully invested and excited and wanting to bring Hey Lady into the world and to help it be successful. So I made that choice, probably with my heart and maybe not necessarily with my head, but we're getting there. And
do the two like connect together? Like, do you still get? Because I mean, even though I know you're not posting videos, I assume you're still getting a certain amount of views on that channel. It was so big.
totally.
Do you get leads from that into Hey Lady? Like, how does the two connect still?
Yes. And during that
Okay.
transition, I was talking about Hey Lady. My audience knew about what I was doing and what Hey Lady was, and there were certainly opportunities to kind of come along and see what we were doing over there. So there's certainly that kind of connection that still exists today. It's one of the best things about YouTube is just the longevity of that content. It's still there. People are still watching it. People are still, people are still subscribing. It's still growing. And we're coming up to 2 years of not actually putting content onto the channel. It also still brings in revenue as well, which helps us to fuel what we're building at Hey Lady. So there was that transition period that kind of helped to sort of tell the story of where I was heading. But I think the other thing that connects English and what we're doing at Hey Lady is really just that what that channel does in terms of authority and building trust. And for any of your creators who have a YouTube channel and whether they're at the phase of kind of feeling like I'm putting so much into this and it's not necessarily bringing the revenue that I want it to, or in fact, they've been building for a while. It is such a strong reference of credibility and personal brand for whatever you do next or wherever you go next. And I think that that's like right now, both Shah and I would say that that is the strongest value that we have as we're building and creating something new, is that we can fall back on the trust that people have when they're searching my name or looking at Hey Lady and seeing that actually it's supported by, powered by English, and it's a much more well-known kind of brand and recognizable.
From a lead point of view, so I know you mentioned before we got started that you've got ads running to sign-ups. What's the main source of your sign-ups for Hey Lady? Is it the ads or is it from English at the moment?
I'm going to handle that to Shah because Shah looks after our ads.
Yeah, sure.
So definitely.
Yeah, look, at the moment, our main source of new members to Hey Lady is through ads. One of the amazing things that we've discovered is because of Emma's work at English, you can do really targeted ads. Like we can target viewers of this channel, as well as gender and interests and so forth. And what we found is the biggest benefit for it is that the cost of acquisition, like what we actually pay to acquire a customer, is somewhere around 1/10 to 1/12. So when we talk about things like CAC to LTV, ours is somewhere around about, it averages about 1 to 10, 1 to 11, something like that. And so and if we were to compare ads, so when we A/B test different ad campaigns, and you go, let's try and make an ad where Emma doesn't have to be in the ad, and we're getting Emma out to act and to perform the ad editing and all of that kind of thing, and let's try one without Emma. Emma's ads just outperform the other ones hands down every time, like at least 8 or 9 to 1 from those times where we've been measuring that. And so we've experimented with that, and that's been working really well. Probably, I think increasingly, organic channels take a little while to get going. I think again, because of English, the pace at which that we've grown, every time I look on Instagram or Facebook for Hey Lady, the number, and even the YouTube channel, which we've started, sort of just kind of got that out there as set an intention. The numbers have sort of climbed up on there relatively quickly. So we're also getting traffic from, for example, just organically through Instagram and organically through Facebook and the YouTube channel and things like that, places like that as well. Probably the one that is the most tricky for us at the moment is actually referrals. So there's a very strong intention with the community, like a really good community should grow through referrals, right? Like if you're having a great time and you know somebody else, and in the English language learning space, we'd say like if your English is not your first language, you sure as heck probably know somebody else whose English is not their first language, right? Probably most of your mates would be, and how to encourage them over. So at the moment, we're sort of trialing different initiatives like how big does the carrot need to be, or what the kind of offer or the incentive is to bring someone across to Hey Lady. And I think that's probably something where we've got room to grow there, and room to figure out kind of what might work in terms of a referral acquisition. But yeah, to answer your question, currently it's predominantly paid ads, and we don't pay much for those ads because of the work that's been done on it in English.
And what's the sticking point for you guys at the moment in terms of growth? Because I know you said you kind of want to double the number of members that you've got in Hey Lady. What do you think's like getting in the way? What's stopping you from getting there at the moment?
Well, I mean, it depends on which week that you ask me, right? Like if you'd ask me what your sticking point is about October, September last year, I would have said we are on fire. Like we're doing webinars that are bringing in like 50 grand, and it's been brilliant. And when you go to do it again, it's that I always think of Ricky Gervais and The Office, right? Like you can do the first one brilliant, the second one's good, but like, is the third one really going to work? And it's sort of the same with that. And I find that's consistency where you go, we've figured this out. This is actually working. And then you go to do it again, and you do very well a second time. But then after that's where I find that our biggest challenge kind of lies. So, and that's in terms of running a business, that makes it really difficult to do things like forecasting, for example. Like, where are we going to be in 6 months' time? And you want to know where you're going to be because you want to know, the other projects that you've got coming on, or who can you hire, or those kinds of things. And you don't get that opportunity so much if, it's inconsistent in the way that it has been. I think that's something that it's just not really like a kind of super specific, like a bottleneck specifically in the funnel or something like that. It's this consistency of repeating things that you've experimented with and thought this is really working, until it doesn't.
So you mentioned the webinar. So you'd done the webinar, it worked great. You did it again, it worked pretty well, and you did it a third time. Like, what was the amount of time in between each of those webinars that you'd done?
Well, we actually did it about 7 or 8 times in total. We did 2 different types of webinars.
Yeah, and they were monthly.
Yeah, we're doing them each month. Yeah. I can't say for sure exactly what the sticking point was. Like, so for example, just to give some of the numbers where you can get a bum on a seat in a webinar for about or a registration, let's say, for 25 cents. Right. And then 1 in 2 of those.
Are you doing that? You're using ads for it. Were you doing email promotion to your list as well? And
we were doing that as well. Yeah, we were doing that as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So 25 cents. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. So you get 20, but then you've got, okay, this is how many people registered. Then you've got how many people actually turned up on the day. And there's a whole lot of experimentation. Yep. And so the magic number for us was, don't even mention the webinar to anyone until exactly 5 days before it's happening. Don't bother with like a 2-week build up or all of that kind of thing, because you just lose people's attention. And so that was working. That seemed to be consistent. And then the next thing is, okay, how do you get people to stay engaged so they're actually going to turn up to this thing? Because typically once you've got people in the room, so I always say this with pride, you get them in there with Emma, they're going to buy, right? And about 10 to 15, we'll say 5 to 10% consistently of the people in the room would buy. So you're sort of thinking, fantastic, let's just get as many people as we can, kind of in there. So then you've got like, okay, there's registrations. Then, okay, now how many people are going to attend? And then there's an interesting thing between the relationship between people who attend and people who don't attend. And often the people who don't attend buy anyway. They don't even come to the webinar or even watch the recording. And then you've got the post-event follow-ups and the email sequence and the nurturing and all of that sort of thing. And then you sort of think, okay, that's a wrap. That's one campaign, kind of done. How do we go at the end of that? So in between that, some of the things we grappled with in terms of inconsistency was particularly attendance. Sometimes you get So 35% attendance of registrations, I would say, is a really strong figure. And across other people that I've listened to who've talked about, like Amy Porterfield or those kind of people who sort of agree that's a great, a strong benchmark for where you want to kind of get to. And we'd have that. And then on one of them, it would just completely drop out and just be like, is it the weather? Is it, when we start saying, oh, it's holiday season, right? So that's probably why, and you just don't know. And it's like, why did the bump, well, I'm just going to swear, but, fall out of the sky, those results. So it's a bit of that, That said, I think that for anyone who is, whether it's webinars or course sales, and as you specialize in and talk a lot about funnels, really just understanding there are steps, and the empowering thing about those steps that goes on is you can put a number on each of those steps virtually, and you can at least have an educated guess about where things may or may be going wrong or where things are going right. And that said, we try to make good decisions more than we make bad decisions, and try to keep things as consistent as we can.
Okay, so you were measuring all these steps. You knew that you wanted to get a 35% attendance rate. You knew that of the people who attend, it tends to be 5 to 10% of people are buying. That all but sometimes it wasn't working. And are you still doing them? Have you stopped altogether now with the webinars, or?
That's a really good question. So here's the thing that I don't know. Have you done many webinars when there's
loads?
This?
Yeah.
Right. So there's thousands of people
going to be one of the
there.
best marketing tactics. They're so
It's
good.
Brilliant. It is a great tactic. And it's super exciting on the night or at the time of the webinar, right? Because the comments feed's going so fast you can barely read anything. Trying to get messages to Emma because people have got questions, it's going off and everyone's just thumbs up and the emoji reactions going all over the screen. It's super exciting. It's also really exhausting. And so what we did, so we happened upon this as well. So the webinars sort of had that kind of decaying feeling, it's not, maybe we should take a break, or maybe we're not sure. Is it too much to do? Shall we do them again in this one particular month? And we were looking at some of the numbers of people who bought. We were selling a 3-month, let's say, it's not say an order bump as such, but let's say a packaged offer. The packaged offer was a 12-week course that's going to help you double your fluency and your confidence by giving you the foundations of really good fluency practice. And then on top of that, we're going to provide 3 months of membership to Hey Lady, this place where you just go in there, there's all these people, blah, blah. That's going to be a great product. So we were promoting that at the end of the webinar. It had been selling very well. And then we just kind of got into a state, we were so exhausted from doing them. And we had a chat as a team and just said, what if we didn't do the webinar? What if we just spent the next 5 days putting something together where we just sell the program just as it is, no webinar, or linked to the webinar content? And so that then tripped over into the next thing. Then also we felt, well, this is fantastic. We're actually now making more sales without the use of the webinar at that time. And so that was the next kind of for us to go, okay, maybe this is what's going to work for us for the next little period of time. And it's certainly a lot less exhausting and all of those kinds of things from actually running that many webinars as we were.
So has that worked better, or is that just less exhausting?
No, I think it's less. So one thing is it's absolutely been less exhausting in some ways, I would say, for the team. And look, the good thing about the webinar is you have a presentation, you know that it works. You've been improving it with each iteration based on the real-time feedback that you're getting from the audience while the webinar is actually in progress. And that's been super empowering. We love being able to do that. But there is a lot of planning and there's a lot of we're doing all this other stuff at Hey Lady as well, by the way, because we're a very small team. So it does get to be a lot. Then we were getting exactly the same results or better in terms of actual signups and sales of that program on its own, that bundled offer on its own. And so then we proceeded with that for, I think, better part of 5 months, 6 months. And that was doing relatively well. And again, I think I put some of this consistency in this case down to probably our lack of finesse around acquiring or promoting that offer. And the way that we've been doing that again has been more so reliant on, I would say by this time, it would be more so reliant on direct paid advertising, because it's just basically we have a budget for how much it costs per result. and how much would we get in return for that sale, that return on that ad spend. If it made sense, just continue with that. And that has also worked for a period of time. At which point my relationship with Meta and Facebook ads has started sort of going on a slightly downward hill. Again,
It
because
does happen sometimes. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it's tricky.
I've heard this from others. Yes.
Yes. And so I guess, to bring it full round, I just sort of think like where we're at and in terms of the challenges that we've got, as I've seen a lot of other course creators go through, is like, you probably don't really want to be continually ever relying on these ads, even though they are satisfying and they can absolutely work. And we've done really well with them. It's been great. But sort of long-term, sustainable, reliable, repeatable, I absolutely think there's a better way to do that. That Meta machine is hungry for, it's like YouTube actually, in a way, hungry for the content. Keep feeding it, keep feeding it, keep feeding it. It's a sort of similar vibe, I guess.
Yeah, I got a friend who's doing like I think about 3 million a year. He's doing selling parenting courses. He was talking me through like and he's doing it all through ads. He's doing it all through Meta ads. I think it's just through Meta ads. It's certainly mostly through Meta ads. And he was talking me through the amount of creative that he has to create for that. And he's doing like the numbers he told me were just staggering. I forget exactly what it was, but it was certainly in the like thousands of creatives that he's made over the last, year or two, whatever, possibly in tens of thousands. And he was like, I'll make 100, and out of 100, 10 will be good, and 90 will be like, no, tested it, didn't really work. And out of those 10, 1 will be the standout success. And it's like, whew, that's a lot of content to be creating. That's a lot of like, and some of them are like, it's the same ad, but just different hooks in the in the copy. It's not like everything completely from scratch, but still, it's a lot to be creating. Which it's funny, isn't it? Because the idea everyone who does organic, the idea they have about ads is, I wish I could do it through ads because then I could just scale it. You come up with the ads and then you just scale it. It's like, no. It's its own content machine where you have to create all these different ads in order to try and scale the ad campaigns, because each ad will tire with that audience, and the frequency will get too high, and ads just stop working for some reason after some period of time or whatever, so
it's like all the
I
other
think there's actually a rule of thumb. It's like 1 in 1,000. So if you want to get to spending 1,000 a day on one ad set, the one winning ad that really hits home, the rule is it's 1 in 1,000. So exactly what your mate said is about right? So like out of 100, there was 10, and then out of the 10, there'd be 1. Does that make that 1 in 1,000 chance of winning? Yeah.
Yeah. 1 in 100. That would be. Yeah.
1 in 100. Okay. Well, that's even better because I've heard it's 1 as a golden rule. It's 1 in 1,000 to hit it out of the park.
Yeah. So maybe with his 1 in 100, he's smashing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely killing it. He's
Most
killing
people aren't
it.
doing ads are would never believe that it could be that many.
No. Yeah.
Well, I think it's true across all of the strategies that we were just talking about there. Like there is this point where, whether it's content, whether it's like the process where you want to run through a webinar, whether it's a, freebie or a giveaway or whatever, like there is a point where like you saturate your audience, or you kind of go out to your email list with the same thing so many times that actually no one's really taking any action anymore, and you've got to kind of come up with something else. And it's like, as much as the sort of theory of like set and forget, like create this amazing thing and then just like walk away and forever it will just bring customers to you, like it doesn't actually, exist in any of these sort of tactics that we've been talking about. They all have their own kind of challenge, I guess.
Yeah, and like there's basically like nearly everybody that I know who sells courses, digital products, whatever. They have this idea. They've read something online, the passive income kind of dream, whatever, and they want to set up a long automated sequence that goes out to the email list. So you get leads in, automatically these things come out, and just consistent forever. Like, and I've been doing this for 8 years in this market. It does not work as well as doing a different thing live each month.
Yeah.
Like for various different reasons. Sometimes one is if you're doing it live, you can adapt it to the market, to the time, you can have a different hook for a reason people are signing up. Secondly, because if you try and set it and forget it, stuff breaks and it's very hard to spot what it is. Whereas if you're doing it live, you kind of can see with the whole audience at one point, it's very easy to see when something goes wrong. And yeah, like you're saying, like things just the same thing doesn't keep working. You need to keep kind of tweaking it and changing it, what have you. So like our approach is a big part of the work that we're doing with people is every month we're going to be promoting something. Now, if it's a membership, it's generally, okay, it's the same thing we're promoting in terms of the core offer, but you've got to make it seem different. It's like, okay, what's the product is the same, but how are we changing the offer? What are we doing? You mentioned earlier, Shah, I think something about like, okay, we're going to put together this work on creating this additional freebie or this additional thing that's like the front end for this month. It's like, how are we going to, we had the same course that we promoted once, 10 months in a row to the same audience. And we managed to improve the sales every single month because we could figure out, oh, what if we do it this way? What if we change this angle? And so even though it's the same audience, you could just keep increasing sales after month after month after month. After 10 months, we ran out of ideas. We're like, okay, guys, we need another product from you because this is getting tough to keep selling this again and again. But I think that's like one of the things that like we're spending a lot of time on with clients is like, how do we make this offer a little different? Do we make the hook different? So the offer's the same, but the hook's different. Do you make the offer different? Do you have a completely new product? What is it that you're doing differently? So what's the current system that you're running? What's the kind of current offers you've got?
So we just simplified everything down to one offer and just trying to, I guess, double down on that. So,
okay.
Hey Ladies, a membership.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, our focus is on onboarding. So behind the scenes, what we're trying to do for all other reasons we could also talk about if you like, but thus from the first moment they engage with our brand, the sign up flow as they step inside, the first seconds, minutes, day, week, all of that, right? So that's all going on in the background. The other thing though is there's a gap in our in English language learning. People are very familiar with you buy a course, you open it up, there's a screen with a menu on the left, or you can see the table of contents. You click through the content, there's a video in it. They're familiar with that. They're familiar with YouTube videos, and they're familiar with what happens like in a language school. What they're not familiar with is a place that you go and you're expected to talk with other people who are learning English, and somehow that's going to be a good thing. But on the other side, right? But on the other side, on the inside of that community, there's all these people showering each other with love and traveling across the world and buying airplane tickets to visit each other and all this amazing connection that happens. The difference between those two things is onboarding. And the main thing which we're improving overall is what we call is the free motion. So in product-led growth, if you've ever gotten like deep dived or geeked out on this concept of product-led growth, the free motion is the important part. So our current free motion is a 7-day free trial. Why is it 7? Because we've done 14, 30, and 10, and 7 is the number of days that you need. And we'll convert anywhere up to 60% of people who sign up for a free trial after 7 days compared to the others. And 30 was the worst. Way too long of a free period. Just don't. Well,
have you tried shorter as well?
We've not tried shorter than 7 because we've also observed in our current, let's just say, getting started onboarding steps, it can take, it was at that time before we improved it, taking 3 to 4 days. Now, that's a good question, and we actually possibly could reduce that. But here's the thing. These time-based trials are kind of pointless because you've got a mate's birthday you've got to go to tomorrow. You've got the kids playing something on the weekend. Like, you get excited in the moment in the darkness of night while you're up late and you've got quiet time and you sign up for something. But then when you actually get round to engaging with that thing is anybody's guess. So what we're moving towards is engagement-based trials. Some people might call it usage-based trials. So let's say, Hey Lady, the core value of what we do is it's in the conversation. It's in the video call. That's where the magic happens. So let's say I say, well, John, you can sign up and you get 7 conversations. Now we've got all these other things which will nudge you through that process. Anyway, I'm diverging, but that's what's going on in the background is we're trying to nurture people through a trial period that will change from a time-based to an engagement-based trial. And so all of our focus in our current funnels, let's say, are all pointing towards this 7-day free trial. The first way that we're doing that is with paid ads, and they've been super successful in a consistent. As long as we don't try to scale them and try to get to like the actual target number of signups per day that we'd really like, and we just keep it at a manageable level for Meta to handle, it's fine. Then we've also got a nurture sequence that begins with a quiz. That's been another. I wouldn't say it's been a fantastic thing yet for converting people because we haven't had a really solid nurture sequence afterwards. But people love quizzes. They love assessing themselves about what's wrong with them, and then you can provide them with a solution. And it's also a chance to educate them. So that's basically where we're down to, but all roads need to lead towards this single offer of the 7-day free trial, and then we let the platform and the community do the heavy lifting of turning that prospect into a customer. After
And I
that.
will
Okay.
maybe add as
So go on, Emma.
well. I might just also add as well, although right now our focus is on bringing everyone through the free trial, we have also at times turned on and off a short course that we use particularly to help customers who are sort of feeling a bit anxious about jumping into a space where they've just got to speak, and helping to nurture them through what's it like, what are the kind of skills that you need, like this is your opportunity to sort of practice your introduction, and this is how to ask great questions, and this is sort of what to expect in the community. So we have a short course product that, as Shah said earlier, comes with 3 months of membership with the community. That, although we're not pushing that at the moment, that's also another way that we sort of bring members into the community.
Nice. Okay, so you've got like a main funnel, which is free trial, and then you got a secondary one, which is this. Okay, if they didn't get through that, let's try this different approach of this course as like another way to kind of get them into it as well. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm working with somebody who's doing like it's like a friend of mine, Jodie. She runs a business called Coach Fox AI, and they basically run AI. They'll create like an AI version of you as a coach. So their clients are coaches, and then they'll create an AI version of the coach, which is either a lead magnet and like people can kind of interact with it for free, or people are selling it on. And so I'm keeping on working with her on like, well, what angle are we using for like, how are you managing to get people into this? What's the approach? And she's doing webinars, and the webinars are working great, and they've got the free trial, but then they've also got like a boot camp. So the boot camp is 2 hours. We're going to get everything set up together. And they've got a done with you program, which is like 6 weeks, which is kind of the same thing, but just like spread out over a longer period. And like just all these ways of like, how do we get people in? And it's the same thing at the end, right? It's the same product that they've got afterwards, but it's like, how do we just get people through kind of what you're talking about, that onboarding process? Like, how do we get them into the point? How do we get them to do whatever the like the idea of product-led growth is? Not product-led growth, but like onboarding is like generally you've got multiple things that people need to do. And when they've done, if someone's done these 6 things, they're very likely to become a member, right? And so it sounds like for you, it's if they do the 7 lessons. If they do the 7 lessons, they're very likely to kind of convert to the next stage. I don't know if I've got that right, but that's how it sounds.
You got it exactly right. Yeah. And sometimes they call that like the magic number. There's magic numbers in other platforms, like say, for example, Slack. Slack knows that if you are a team and you send 10,000 messages between the people in your team within X period of time, I think it's 3 months or something like that, Slack basically knows they've 95% chance got you as a customer, right? That 10,000 for them is like their magic number. And Hey Lady, we have a kind of similar one, which essentially is as close to, I could say if somebody joins a community and they're going to 1 conversation per day for 7 consecutive days, they're staying. And they're probably going to stay, for some period of time. Going back to what you said as well, I was thinking about like the angle of producing something new, like newness each month, and being really excited about that. And we always talk about it like packaging, right? It's sort of like, how can you have the exact same Christmas present for everybody, but it's in a different package, so that when they look at it, they think like, oh my gosh, I've got something special that's just for me. Not realizing when they open the package, and that's just the trick of the onboarding as well, the art to it is that thing that is inside there is actually really perfectly well suited to you. And so like what you were saying before is helped me to, one of the things we've been talking about in our team recently is there's so many different reasons why somebody is either A, struggling with whatever course or solution or skill that you're teaching, in our case, struggling with speaking English. And there's also so many different reasons why they want to solve that problem for themselves. Like they might be about to move to the UK. They might be about to have relatives visit them. They might be crapping themselves because they've got a job interview coming up. Our product, that's the packaging, right? The wrapper that goes around those things. And you can be inventive with that month after month after nothing. Probably never, I'd say most course creators might never run out of ideas there for like, how could you package up what you're actually offering just to solve those different little nuanced differences about someone's pain that they've got, their problem trying to solve, or the outcome they're trying to, that they desire, at the end of that. I think that could be super helpful for us as well. Bringing a month's worth of people who are just all there because they're want to prepare for a job interview. And that's top of mind, that intention so strong for them now. And then
it's
another
a
one, which is
different campaign.
Right, but exactly the same solution. Because guess what? If you practice speaking English every single day, you're going to be way more confident in that job interview. If you practice speaking English every single day, when your relatives come and visit you from the US to where you live in Croatia, you're going to be able to talk to the grandkids. Like it's the same solution. Different outcome and intent is the other thing.
And
which I
purely
think
by chance, we've done a lot of research in this because we do a lot of work with people who are teaching English. Like that's like probably our most common type of client. So we've done research into this, and by chance it's 7 different segments we found, like the main 7. So you mentioned a couple of them there, right? So one is jobs, one is your family coming to visit, another one is you're moving to another country, another one is your partner's from another country and you want to speak to the family. And it's like, I forget for definite what the others were. Oh, one is you're one of those people who just likes learning languages. I remember
which is weird,
that's a definite segment,
Another one is also...
and it's completely different.
Yeah, another one is also being able to travel independently, which is certainly thing that I think native English speakers take very much for granted, as well.
We're lucky, hey.
Yeah.
Is that something that do you run separate campaigns around all those different approaches, like to your email list or in your ads?
No, we don't currently do that. Oh, go ahead, Emma. Sorry. You go.
It's often based on what we're actually teaching around inside the community at the time. So unlike a standard course that's sort of like a pronunciation course or a grammar course, we teach fluency around different topics or different themes. So each month, we're focused on something different. And many of the topics that we just went through there, they are core topics within the Hey Lady community that you'll often find us talking about in lots of different ways, in lots of different contexts. And so it might also be that topic that's kind of triggering a certain campaign if we have a topic that focuses on interview skills, and we'll be doing that for an entire month. And so at that point, we'll be targeting and talking about and inviting people in who have that goal or skill set. So there's a lot of variety in the way that we are talking to our wider audience based on what's actually happening inside at the same time.
Got it. Okay. And how often are you like running a promotion out to your email list about, okay, this month we're focusing on interview skills. Would you do that like once every month if you've got that sort of theme for the month, or is it, because you'd mentioned before, I think in the notes you sent me through in advance, that you're doing a promotion about every couple of months to your email list?
Yeah. Shah, so when it comes to communicating with our list about what's happening in the community, we do that every month, and we have sort of like a roundup, or here's what's coming up. We have a newsletter called The Loop, and it's got everything that's sort of planned for the month ahead. But that's not necessarily a campaign. That's just us communicating with our prospective customers list, for example. Sorry, Shah, I'll let you jump in.
Oh, I was going to say, so we do absolutely what Emma's saying, and I would. One of the things is when we were talking about this newsletter that we send out, I was like, oh God, we're not doing a newsletter. Like, who reads newsletters? But these ones that we're doing have got really strong engagement, high open rates. They're like super long form, in depth. And like, I think it's because there's actually genuinely so much stuff going on. We're not kind of like clutching at straws, trying to make up something that's exciting that's happening in Hey Lady. So I think that's been a plus, and the newsletter works really well. But in every so we do a promotion every month, but we cycle between external promotion. So for example, like a webinar or another product that we've got. This is it, like what we have been doing. And then in alternating months, we're promoting internally to our community. So we have these sort of like, let's say, upsells, other programs that we have to the community that we do. So it's alternating months. So we're not like, sort of hitting our audience too hard, in our opinion, every single month with another thing to think about and another thing to buy as such, but rather sort of having that breathing space in between, and yet always promoting once per month, inside, outside, inside, outside.
What we found, and we've done a lot of testing, as you can imagine with this, is that the sweet spot for an email list in terms of promotion is once a month. Like, we've tried twice a month, we've tried every 2 months, and we've done this for like multiple months or years, whatever. So you have a big enough sample size, you can see, well, did it just work for a short while and then it started to kind of fall off? Or was it like, no, this actually works a long time? In fact, the best approach that we found, if you can do it, is one full promotion and then one small flash sale that might be like 2 days, something like that. And
Yeah,
that
right.
is like the sweet spot in terms of long term, doesn't burn the list out too much and leads to the greatest amount of revenue that you bring in. Now, obviously, there's a cost to that in terms of you've actually got to write those promotions, put that whole thing together, plan it out, etc. But in terms of revenue from your audience, that's like the sweet spot we found. The crucial thing there is you've got to make sure that the promotion that you're running is in itself providing value. We do something we call nurture promos, which is like where you're trying to make the promotion useful itself. You're trying to nurture the list through the promotion that you're sending, so that the emails in there, people actually like receiving them, they want to read them, they're useful even if they don't buy. Because in any promotion, like 99% of people aren't going to buy from that particular promotion. So you want them to stick around, so they might buy from the next one or the next one or the next one. But you also do want to run something so that they might buy now as well. So it's like, how do you balance? You have to try and balance those two, right? And then we'll always include a link as well, so that if somebody is not wanting to hear about the promotion this time, they can opt out from that promotion without opting out from the whole email list. And that gives a really kind of nice in-between level. So it's like, no, I'm not interested in hearing about this product right now, but I do like your emails and I would like to stick around. And someone might hit that, if they want to, they can hit that 10, 20 times. And then eventually they might be like, oh, actually, I'm kind of interested in the hearing more about how I could go a little bit further this time.
What would you say is like what would be your like lifespan of a list, right? Like, let's say you did that, what you were talking about, for like 12 months.
Yeah.
Could you, or have you, like, could you just start that again in January next year, and all that work you put in for this year, and by that time, either they've forgotten about it or they weren't interested then, but now they are, but they don't feel like, hold on, weren't you just talking about that? Like, is a year about right?
So 6 months is long enough. Year is absolutely plenty. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Like, so obviously you've got some people who will have joined the list who weren't on the list before. So in which case they haven't heard about it ever before. And then you've got the people who were on the list, but they didn't open those emails. And then you've got the ones who did open the emails, but they weren't paying that much attention. Then you got the ones who were paying attention, they did read it, but they've forgotten about it. And then you got the ones who were paying attention, they read it, they remember it, and they didn't buy. And it's like, well, they probably need to hear it again then. So it's like, you might tweak it. So what we'll find is we'll reuse the campaign, but we will go back through every campaign and look at every email and go, what was the open rate on this? What was the click-through rate on this? What percentage of those people actually bought or started a trial or what have you? These 4 emails were great. These 3 emails here need a bit of work. Okay, let's redo those and kind of change that around a little bit. Or we're going to have most of it the same, but we're going to change this in the hook at the beginning of the first email to make it more appropriate to the modern economy, to the what's going on in the world today, to whatever it is that we think is relevant. We're going to tweak it based on we've got these new features, these new testimonials, etc., that kind of thing as well. But overall, so you can just reuse it a year later, but generally we'll kind of when we're doing it, we'll be tweaking it and refining it to see can we make it better than last year's one rather than just reusing it. But as a simple answer, yes. Like I know someone who's been running the same campaign that we built for him. I think the first time we did it, it made him $200,000, and then he's been redoing it every 3 to 4 months forever since then. And every time it's done a little bit worse, but it's still making him a very nice lifestyle. So he's just kind of he's just happy, like, yeah, that's fine, that'll do, that's all right.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, to an extent.
What do you also say? Would you also say, this is a question I've got actually about email nurtures, right? Let's say you've got lead magnets everywhere, or different ways. You've got to grow your email list, presumably, because people are joining this list. So you've got ways for people to opt into that. For each landing, for each lead magnet, would people just then, this goes a bit back to the automated emails, would you put them onto a relevant email nurture sequence for that one, or everybody comes in and there's actually no nurture sequence, there's just once a month or whatever or once a week, whatever your cadence is of emailing, you email everybody regardless with the same email?
Yeah, so we found the sweet spot there is about 2 weeks. So the normal thing is there's one nurture sequence that goes out to everybody, and it lasts about 2 weeks. And the idea with it is it's the best converting campaign that you possibly can make it. And we have tried, what if we do like a different version for different segments within the market? And there's pros and cons to it. So the advantage, and this kind of seems obvious, is, oh, well, if you have like these 7 segments in learning English, like you guys have got, right? If you had a different campaign for each segment based on what lead magnet they signed up for, that would seem obvious that would convert better. And to an extent, that's true if you have unlimited resources. But it uses time to write those campaigns, and it uses time to review them and tweak them and check, oh, is this one converting? Is that one converting? And you've got now 7 things that could go wrong. Whereas if it's just one, you've got one thing that could go wrong, and you can kind of review it more easily. So sometimes that's worth it. But generally, we have found that it's better to have one main nurture sequence that's going out to everybody and make it about 2 weeks and make it like absolutely fantastic. So you'll have like an initial offer. So someone initially signs up to the lead magnet. The confirmation page is showing them an offer. We're like immediately trying to get them to sign up. And then we'll have like a follow-up about that for like a couple of days maybe. And then it goes into nurture, like okay, you're not buying right now. Full nurture, like here's about us, here's our philosophy. We've got something we call the perfect welcome email sequence. And I think it's like 5 or 7 emails, something like that. And it's like really nurturing them, bring them into your world, your philosophy, your way of thinking, trying to explain why you're doing things the way you are, getting them to kind of change their worldview. And then you make another offer at the end of that 2 weeks, and you have like a deadline on that offer as well, so they've got a higher chance of them signing up. And so after that, they'll go into the main email list, and they'll get the same kind of emails as everybody else is getting in the same campaigns.
You go, Emma.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, if you've got with that welcome sequence as well, I presume that the CRM is going to exclude people who've already received it, but are like, we've got people who are like serial lead magnet downloaders, right? So they're always going.
Yeah. That's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want them to do the same thing and reintroducing yourself. No, I was asking because I literally just copied. I actually sat down over a week-long period and just completely copied Russell Brunson's perfect webinar script, right? When we were writing that webinar, actually works a treat. It's brilliant. And I just like one of the things that he was talking about with emails, which is like, he just kind of has these emails where he's just touching base with everybody. And I think he calls them Seinfeld emails, but they're not really about anything. They're just about him reaching out and having a chat with them, just like you're writing to a friend. And so that's what he sends out. And it's not actually, it requires work because it's only once a week, but it goes out to everybody on all of the list all of the time. They all get that. And then he'll have these promotional things that come along from time to time. So he doesn't, or at the time of when I was looking into it, paying attention to him, he wasn't doing the long or email nurture sequence that was on some sort of time delay between emails or anything like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Interesting approach that he took.
Yeah, his perfect webinar script is fantastic. Like that's what we use with every client. It's basically like, I mean, obviously every single little detail of it is different for every person, for every client, but the outline, the structure of it, it's genius. And basically, I don't know if you ever saw him talk about like how he developed it, but he basically went to see all these people who are running seminars, who are doing webinars, what have you. And every time he found a trick that worked from somebody else, he included it. So it's every single trick that everybody was doing, all put together into one place. So as you go through it, so it's got the best possible offer, it's got the best possible structure, it's got the best possible storytelling, it's got the best possible close. It's like every single bit that he found from anyone. And it's like,
it works in a conversation.
That's basically what you should do. Yeah.
I agree. We were having a chat with a friend who's a naturopath. And I literally just said, you should do a webinar. She's like, what should be in it? And I just like, literally just followed the script, followed the structure in a conversation to her right then. She's like, oh my God, I want to buy this. What is this? I'm like, it's your coaching program. I just sold it.
Nice. Well, guys, this has been amazing. I really, really appreciate your time coming on the podcast today. If people want to go check out your what you're up to, where should they go?
They should definitely come to the Hey Lady website to check out what we're building. It's heylady.io. And yeah, certainly reach out to Shah and I on LinkedIn, or you can find me on Instagram. So we'd love to hear from your audience and to hear about what they're building as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out.
Amazing. Thanks so much, guys. I really, really appreciate your time coming on today. And best of luck with everything. Sounds like you're building something amazing.
Thank you.
It's been fun.